Hi, welcome along to my YouTube channel. I'm Bob. What we're going to do today is just going to quickly walk through how to DCC this class 43. This particular one was made in probably around the 80s, so it's just as old as I am. But we're going to give it a new lease of life and bring it up to date. Okay, so first of all we're going to take the outer shell off. This can be a little bit tricky. There's a small piece here and at the rear and on the other side. Okay, so here we are inside the loco. Basically I have already DCC'd this. I'm only making this video just to help other people with the wiring and stuff for the new DCC. So basically you have two plugs plugged in to the front axle. One of them goes around to the LED light. The other brown cable that comes from that plug comes along here and it goes onto the right hand side of the motor. And then at the other side of the motor there's a black cable runs from this side to this side of the motor. Now from the other side of the motor you have your forward facing diode and another wire coming round which brings you back to the light at the front. Also there's a resistor between the two terminals here, and you don't need that in there, and I can't find it to show you where it was, but it sits in between here, kind of little brown square thing with just a couple of wires around these plates. If you just remove that resistor, because you don't need that. Okay, so basically what I did next was cut the wires off of the little plates. So as you can see I've freed this wire off the front bogie. Also remove that from there. Take out the small black wire that joins the left hand plate with the back of the motor, which the back of the motor acts as the left hand side pickup from front of the loco. Also remove the front facing resistor, which activates your lights. Then I also I just trimmed this wire back because it was quite a long wire, so just cut that one back. Okay, so I'm just going to put a very simple 4-function decoder. It's by Hornby. You can get these in your model shops. I got all my supplies from Peter's Spares, which is in Middlesbrough. Very reasonable prices. I think they deliver all over the country. They have a website, if you check it out, it's peterspares.com. They also have an eBay shop. So here's my 4-function decoder. I don't really know the difference between all of the decoders and all of the other different ones. I know you can get Bachmann ones and so on and so on. I'm very new to modelling like model railways really, and DCC in and stuff. So that's my 4-function decoder. Also at the time I purchased a 8-pin socket. You don't, I suppose you don't really need this, because you could trim the wires and solder the wires straight onto it. As this was my first one, I got the plug just so I made sure everything was going alright. Okay, so let's have a look at this motor in a bit more in depth. Like I said, this one's from around the 80s, I think, as far as I know. There was a different model that had screws, like a long screw and a short screw, which connects to the back of the motor, which in this model there was a black wire that connected the back and the front. If one of the screws is longer, you have to insulate the screw. No, I'm not 100% sure how you would go around doing that. I'm sure you can buy some kind of paste or something that you put on the end of the screw, so when you drive it back through into the back of the motor, it won't connect to the chassis. I could be wrong, or you could possibly get a shorter screw just so it goes into the plastic piece and not through into the back. As I said, this engine is from like the 80s. I inherited this off my uncle, this engine. It was in quite bad nick when I got it, so I replaced the motor inside. There is a name for it, I don't know the name. I also replaced the bushes and the springs. I just replaced it. It's a 3-arm inside motor area piece. Okay, so inside your decoder box, digital chip box, you have the common special, the functions that you need. So basically you need to connect the orange wire to the right hand side of the motor, which is the back part or the front part of the motor. Then you have to connect the grey wire to the left hand side part of the motor, like so. I'm just starting out, my soldering's not that great, but they're on there and they don't move. Okay, so back to my instructions again. It says the black wire has to be on the left hand rail. Now I don't know if I've totally done this right, but I assumed that the front bogie here was picking up from the left hand side rail. So I attached the black wire to the small clip which was originally in this socket. Okay, so the next step was to connect the red wire to the back of the chassis, which connects to the right hand side rail. So as you can see, I just used the plug that was originally there and just soldered the wire onto that plug. Okay, so that I have my socket wired up with the 4 different wires going out, 3 to the back there and 1 to the front. I also wanted to connect my lights through the decoder so I could use them on my DCC controller. So come back to the instructions. So the blue wire that comes out of your decoder is the common wire, which I think just means it's like a live wire. So I've connected the blue one into the left hand side there of my chocolate block. In the instructions it says the forward facing lights should be the white wire. Now I don't know if I've done this 100% correct, but the white wire didn't work with the lights, so I consulted the instruction guide again and connected the back facing lights to the right hand side there of my chocolate block, which are then left and right into the chocolate block. Let's connect these wires. Okay, so I've put the two front wires into there. A very small chocolate block, just with a small piece of sticky pad just to hold that into place. Okay, so there we have the socket all wired up, ready to go. Obviously if you just wired your decoder straight into these sections, then you'll have your chip attached, ready to go. If you are using a socket, you've got to make sure you line up the correct colour wires corresponding with the correct plug, the correct wires on the plug. It's quite easy to do, so just check your red, blue, white there, and the grey, which is going to be that side of the plug. Just be very careful when you're putting these plugs in. You don't want to snap any of the little prongs off, bend them or anything. You have to use the tiniest amount of force there to push that on. Obviously making sure you have lined it all up properly, because you don't want to damage them. So basically that's it. I wouldn't advise touching the decoder with your hand really, because just from experience with PCs and stuff, you're not meant to touch the circuit boards and stuff, because you carry like an electric charge in yourself, so you don't really want to damage anything in there. A little bit of a mess of wires, but it's the first one, so also like other pieces of wire that you're not going to use, just make sure that they're not going to short anything. So I've like covered up the ends. I've wrapped up this little bit of cable just to tidy it. Also on your decoder there's a purple wire that just comes off by itself from the chip. This is like another live wire I think, and this is for maybe adding smoke or sound or something else to it later on. So we've just put a small piece of sticky pad in the bottom of that there. Get it around this way like that. Stick my plug sideways onto there.
you have it, an old class 43 with a new Lisa light. That been Bob, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe.